deliver. Goalkeepers, never strikers, they'll deliver. Crowd roars erupted, you can feel the quake.
Hello there, you're welcome to the channel. The Nigerian Flying Eagles, yeah, they've qualified for the semi-finals of the Under-20 AFCON, and incidentally also qualified for the Under-20, World Cup later on this year in Chile. So good news, good news, good news, good news, good news. So it's not only complaining about the team that I do, I also share the good news. Nigeria is like, I don't know, it's like that child that's always crazy, that's always misbehaving, but you love them nonetheless. So the team was still not very good today. A bit better, slightly better, but wasn't that great today still. But credit to them, all the players that stepped up to take the penalties, converted from the spot, brilliant. And the goalkeeper was the hero for me. He made those 2 or 3 saves, in the game, in the penalty shootouts to ensure that the Nigerian under-20 side, qualify for not only the quarterfinals of the AFCON, under-20 AFCON, but as well, the World Cup in Chile. Now, there's something odd to me, very, very odd. If I can get that up, I'll bring that and show you. The man of the match. Who did CAF go on to make the man of the match? You would have expected it to be, maybe the player that took the final penalty that scored, or maybe, the goalkeeper for the winning team, But what we ended up having was a bit strange. And the reasoning for, that CAF gave for giving this award to this player was very strange to me. Very, very strange. When you're trying to justify what we call nonsense, trying to justify rubbish, something you can't actually justify, just find some reason to do credit to the player. No, I'm not doing animosity towards him because he didn't give the award to himself. CAF gave him the award, but I'll just share this screen at a minute, in a moment, and then I will talk through it. So share screen in a minute, and then we'll take it from there. Yeah, I'm sure it's up now. And yeah. So man of the match was given to Mohamed Sissoko, the goalkeeper for Senegal. And the reasoning was because he kept a clean sheet against Nigeria. Now, I want you to think about this. The game ended 0-0. That means Nigeria didn't concede a goal, Senegal didn't concede a goal. So how come that has become a reason for CAF to give the man of the match award to the Senegalese goalkeeper? Both goalkeepers kept clean sheets, obviously, and then the goalkeeper for Nigeria, Ebenezer Harcourt, went on to make 3 saves in the penalty shootout. So how then is he not getting man of the match award, but the Senegalese goalkeeper is getting man of the match award? It doesn't make any sense to me. And this is the things that we always pick up with CAF, odd decisions. And that's why, in a way, I'm happy that this whole South Africa business doesn't have, it's not a decision for CAF to make, rather it's FIFA. But FIFA, they're taking their time with it, by the way. So that being said, fair play. And then I'll say kudos again to the players for converting the penalties and qualifying for the next round. I was excited. I was happy that the team actually qualified for the semi-final. So when I criticize the team, it's not that I want the team to fail. I want the team to do well. I want the team to succeed. I want the team to go as far as they can go. But those mistakes still remain. Those errors still remain. Yes, we can say happy days, qualified for the semi-finals of the AFCON, of the Under-20 AFCON. Happy days, qualified for the World Cup in Chile. Because the last 4 teams qualify automatically for the World Cup. So you have the 4 teams qualifying for the AFCON. Qualifying for the World Cup. Qualifying for the World Cup. But now those errors still remain. Those mistakes still remain. Yes, we can be happy to say, yes, we got to the penalties. Yes, Ebenezer Harcourt made those 3 saves. Yes, he qualified for the semi-finals and the World Cup, but how come the team got to penalties? Because finishing was poor, build-up play was still poor, loss of possession in midfield, game was still poor. And Senegal for me were a bit disappointing as well because I expected so much more from them, but they themselves weren't that great. But on the Nigerian side, still the same sort of issues I had with the team going forward into, as in from the group stage, now into the quarterfinals, those same errors still remain. Now, the issue is people will be happy with this. This win will paper over the cracks, and people will say, "Oh, let's go, happy days into the semi-finals." Now, the proper approach should be, okay, we've qualified for the semi-finals of this AFCON. How do we set this team up? For me, the problem still remains because I don't think these players are good enough. I don't think they are. Areli Korabo, I really felt for the player because he always was finding himself in the midfield, having to search for balls, having to get the ball, and then bring the ball down to link up with his, attacking teammates, link up with the midfield and all that. So I really felt really bad for him because he should have been in a prime position to be, he should have been in positions to be getting goals, waiting on passes to come to him to score. But he had to, go into the midfield to look for the ball. And that is why, on a different note, that is why it is very, very, very important for us to watch games, to see players ourselves. Because when it comes to it, and then you have somebody else begin to give you a description of a player, they start limiting the player. Like how they're talking about Victor Osimhen now to say he's only good with the ball at his head, he's only good for crosses. Now, somebody would write something down to say, Areli Korabo is only good in the box. And in fact, there was a video I was watching, and I think I shared that video as well on here. I did a video on here where I reacted to Areli Korabo skills and ability on the ball, the goals he scored. There's a video I did, and the YouTube channel that did that video, when you were describing his strengths, his traits, his abilities, and one of the weaknesses they added there was lack of involvement outside the box. And no what was funny in that video, even in the video where they said his weakness was lack of activity outside the box, he showed that he could contribute outside the box, linking up with teammates. And in this game as well, you could see him dropping into the midfield, helping and with link-up play with people in the midfield, linking up with Benjamin as well. I think that was very, very lively as well when he came on to join Areli Korabo. So overall, I say, like I always say, even if it's half a goal, even if it's 0.5, if it's enough to take you to the next round of any competition, you're happy, make like bandits, take that result and go home. So Ebenezer Harcourt as well, I have to give him his flowers. I have to give credit to him because he made those saves. Because sometimes in those penalties, you make one. I think he made 2 saves. Yeah, he made 2 saves, and then the other one smashed across on the crossbar at the crossbar. Sometimes the goalkeeper makes 1 save, and that's it. But he was up to the task. He made 2 saves, and then the Senegalese player was under pressure, and the ball and his penalty smashed across the woodwork or the crossbar. So due credit to him. Now the question is, Ebenezer Harcourt, if he continues in this light, forget about everything that's happened previously, but if he continues in this light going forward, is this someone you think can be part of the Super Eagles setup? Of course, Stanley Wabale is the number 1. Until someone else comes in and proves they are better, he is the number 1. Harcourt, what do you think about him? And overall, let me see. For those of you who possibly have watched the game, or if you missed the game, you can catch highlights of the game later on CAF TV. CAF TV is CAF's official YouTube channel. I think that's where they've been showing the games, and you can watch the semi-finals on there. And hopefully, if Nigeria gets to the finals, you can watch the finals on there as well. So overall, what do you think of today's performance? The performance of the team today. What do you think about the performance? For me, wasn't much different. It wasn't much different. There was no. I didn't see anything dramatically or spectacularly different from how the team had been playing. Still dominating possession, 50 something, 56 or so possession averagely. But for me, those possession sort of numbers just amount to empty calories because you can have all the ball in the world, but what do you do? How is your build-up play when you have the ball? How are you able to affect, the opposition team? How are you able to knit those killer passes through? And those things were still lacking today. And you're heading into the semifinals. So those things were still lacking today. Heading to the semifinals, you're still having those issues. Don't get me wrong. I'm happy, super excited, qualified and heading into semifinals. Happy days, as far as I'm concerned. But for me, now this team still has to seriously improve. There's a stream that I'll be doing tomorrow. Please, you have to be here for this one because I'll be looking at a lot of Nigerian talent all over the world, homegrown, from Nigerian grassroots, dual nationals that are born and based overseas. I'll be looking at them as well. I'm talking about them on that live stream. So I want you to be part of that as well. And it will be interactive. You can send me your messages on the chat and let's have a discussion about it. If you want to come on screen as well, you can let me know and I'll drop the invite link and you can join me and we can have that discussion on here. But today we're talking about this under 20 side beating Senegal via penalties, 3-1, and the heroics of Harcourt, Ebenezer Harcourt. So the question I'm asking, if he continues to perform this way, from how he's performing now to the end of this AFCON, and if he takes it into the World Cup, do you think he should be like the third choice goalkeeper, behind Nwabali and some other goalkeeper, or should he be second choice goalkeeper? What do we think about it? I know there's Atto Okonkwo. Atto Okonkwo has kept 18 clean sheet for Wrexham, and they've just gained promotion to the English Championship as the second tier of English football. So he's another name that you have to look out for. As for Goodman, I'm not really interested in Goodman anymore because we're having conflicting reports. Some say he wants to play for England. Some say he wants to play for he came out to say he wants to play for England. For me, I'm always open to dual nationals choosing to play for Nigeria. Always open because for me, don't leave talent on the table. Don't leave talent on the table. And you have to have as deep a talent pool, not just deep in depth, but deep in quality as well. So I have no issues about that. But once you come up to say, hey, I don't want to play for Nigeria. Hey, I feel more English than Nigerian. Hey, I feel more German than Nigerian. Then for me, fair days, happy days, go on and play for the country that you have that much affinity with. Just like Kevin Shada. Kevin Shada, I came to find out that his dad is actually the person who is Nigerian, but for some reason, he's answering Shada as his surname. That's a German name, but whatever. So he even said he feels more German and he prefers to play for Germany. So for me, Kevin Shada is off my table, off my board, because in all intents and purposes, he's German. So goodbye, good luck, and do whatever you want to do at the club for a German national team. But if a player still wants to play for Nigeria, is open to being convinced, open to being spoken to, fine, I'm happy with that. So in the absence of the likes of Goodman that will possibly look for where to play for England until he's done, then he wants to come back for the doors to be shut then. So do you see Harcourt as a good number 2 for Stanley Nwabali? Just asking that question. I'll still say this. The issues of this team still remain. They still remain because, like I said earlier in the video, right? If the team had played very well, there was no reason for the team to head to penalties. The game shouldn't have been headed. Shouldn't have headed to penalties. It should have ended in the first. It should have ended in the first 90 minutes, or worst case scenario, ended in the extra time. But no, it went on to penalties. So that means something isn't quite clicking. And for me, something isn't quite clicking in the team. The build-up play is still poor. The chance creation is still poor. Even the simplest of passes to teammates is still poor. Short passes that don't get to their destination, don't get to their target. You're still having these issues. So for me, it's still not a good look. Still not a good look. Happy with the win, 100%. Happy qualified for semifinals, qualified for the World Cup. Good. At least one one Nigerian national team, is set to go to the World Cup. It's sure that he'll be heading to the World Cup. But that aside, this team still has a lot of holes in it. A lot of holes. Still looking at the team, ask myself still the question: Who who was the person that gave me some excitement in this team? Not really. I didn't see anyone really that gave me that excitement. No. And if I'm completely honest, the penalties were more exciting than even the game. And that shouldn't be the case. So there are still players, and this team needs to be reconstructed. I bet you if this team heads this way to the World Cup, I know many people will say, "Oh, these boys are the ones who qualified the team for the World Cup, so we should keep them together. It would be unfair, to change them up and bring new faces in. Not at this stage." But for me, looking at this team, you can say it would be unfair. Yes, it may seem unfair if you do that, but this kind of players head to World Cup. Are you sure they can come out of the group stage? I'm not quite sure. I'm not quite sure at all. I have zero confidence. Happy that they won today. Happy that the goalkeeper made the save that he made to ensure the team qualified, but zero confidence going into the semi-finals and going into a possible World Cup. So for me, I want the NFF, Nigerian Football Federation, to look at players, not just dual nationals that I talk about a lot, but grassroots players as well, who were born, bred in Nigeria, that possibly may have gone out and are playing that play in clubs in other countries, or that are still doing very well in the grassroots system. Bring people that can be dynamic, that can, be difference makers, game changers on the pitch. What it upsets me is this: you have these players. I am just I don't have the resources that the Nigerian Football Federation has, and I'm able to spot these players. So how can you say you are the National Football Federation, Nigerian Football Federation? You have scouts everywhere, you have contacts everywhere, and yet you can't get these sort of quality players in. Ariel Porabo, he stood out today. He didn't score, but he played very well today, in my opinion. But there are players all over the world, on either side of the divide. So even if you say, "Oh, we want people who came out from the soil of Nigeria," those are the only ones we want. You have them there as well. Even if you say, "Oh, the dual nationals are always better," you have those as well. You can always tap into both sides, best of both worlds, best of both worlds. I watched the game today. I shook my head. I said, "No, this game is not good enough. What I'm seeing on the pitch is not good enough. It's just not good enough." You have players everywhere. There's Emeka Adiele. Emeka Adiele plays for West Ham. I discovered this, not that I discovered him like I discovered him, he wasn't playing for when I discovered him, but I discovered this player, watched him, I'm basically a gifted player. I'm really a gifted player. This is just me discovering this. Can you imagine if the NFF decides that, okay, right now we want to keep our eyes on the ground, we want to, take note of every granular detail and make sure we, scour the earth, scour Nigeria, scour England, Germany, wherever, to make sure we get the best crop of players for every national team. Then for sure you get top level players. Top level players. Look at the top attacking left back, left wing back, can do everything. So that would have been someone that would have been an exciting addition to this under 20 team. Not talking of Super Eagles, not talking of, talking about this under 20 team. So yes, we've won today. Yay, happy celebration, we've won. Good. Qualified the semi-final. Good. But how did we get there? Performance was nothing to write home about. Performance was nothing to write home about. Yeah, you get the penalties, you take the win, and you run away before CAF decides to remember that you didn't play well in the game. But Something needs to be done. Something needs to be done, definitely, to build this team up. Certain players were just not good enough on the pitch. Were just not good enough. The midfield was poor. Only say again, sorry, it seems like I single him out every day because he's meant to be this guy that controls the game. And fair play to him, Zubairu has been playing him everywhere apart from goalkeeper. He played him in midfield. He played him in left wing. He played him in right wing. He played him all over the place. He played him all over the place. He played him all over the place. So for a young player, sometimes that confuses you as a young player. You want to know where you're playing. You want to have that settled thing where I'm playing left back, I'm playing right back, I'm a striker, I'm a 10, and you have that settled in your mind that that's where you're going to play. Even experienced professionals have that issue when they're asked to play all over the pitch. Just like I talked about in a previous video I did today, I talked about Nkunku, experienced professional, top level talent, but even himself, it's finding it difficult at Chelsea because he's being asked to play everywhere but where he's meant to play. So it's the same thing. With Olise kid, Zubairu is having him play everywhere, play midfield, play left wing, play right wing. So you get the kid confused. So for me, I think Zubairu and a lot of this team should not be heading to the World Cup. But then again, like I said, a lot of people are going to say that would be unfair. They've qualified for the World Cup, they should head to the World Cup, whatever it is. Then, well, let them head to the World Cup and let's see. And then one thing we also have to know is that this under 20 tournament is meant for development of players. But I look at the team, there's something I want to talk about. I'll not talk about it. I'll just say this. There was a tackle between Jefta, the number 7, and a Senegalese player. And then the camera panned onto him, panned onto Jefta, and the camera went off. And I started laughing. I couldn't help myself. I watched it and I was laughing. I know I'm laughing. Maybe you know why I'm laughing as well, but I'm not going to say it. I was laughing. Like really, really, really. But that's what it is. And then what even makes it a bit worse, when you know a lot of these players are not meant to be in this team and you see the way they play, it makes you scratch your head. Happy days, tournament 1. So if you're just joining the video, thanks for joining. Hope you subscribe. Hope you like the video and share this video to as many people as you can that you feel love this kind of content. I want to ask you, if you watch the under 20 AFCON quarterfinals that just ended, slightly over 20-30 minutes ago, what is your take on the game? Are you happy with the performance overall? Do you think this team has turned the corner from how they performed in the group stage? Are you confident going into the semi-final? Are you confident going into the final or semi-final? Confident going to the World Cup? Because you have to win the semi-final game before you head into the final. But so, are you confident about this team as presently put together, as presently constituted, heading to the World Cup? Are you confident that this team can really do the country proud in that World Cup that will be held in Chile? Are you confident about it? For me, not really. I'm not really confident about that at all. But do you think the team has turned the corner? For me, it's left to be seen. It's left to be seen. It's left to be seen because, yeah, penalties, you won. Good. But penalties is not a strategy. Remember South Africa? Remember South Africa in the AFCON, in the senior AFCON? They felt like penalties were their strategy. Their keeper was so good. They were good penalty takers. They felt like that was their strategy. Even when they were playing against Nigeria, their whole tactics was let's kill time a bit, let's not come up. So even until Nigeria scored, then they decided to come out and they got the equalizer. Their whole mindset was let's get to penalties. We're going to win by penalties. And then they got to penalties. They ended up losing. Nigeria ended up defeating them in that a match. So for me, I don't feel like the team has turned the corner yet because I watched the game from start to finish, didn't quite see any change in terms of tactics, didn't quite see any change in terms of the players, because I think even right now it's even too late to do anything about players because that's that's what you've selected. That's the 23, 24, 25, man squad that you have put together. And this is a tournament. You can't change players, midway into a tournament. So you're locked in with these players, And then the coach, I'm not really, really impressed with him, even in this game. Not really, because I look at the game and I'm trying to look for, the tactical nuance, tactical, things that he has added to the team, to make the team tick. But I watch the game, I can't see anything he's done. Still seeing all those misplaced passes, short passes to teammates, boom. If you're Nigerian, you know what that means. Once the ball comes, boom, you still that's what you see. So you're not there's no change still. There's no improvement still. It's still the same thing with qualify that I complained of. I'm sure a lot of you have complained of about all through the group stage. You've complained about it before. All through the group stage, nothing has changed still. Nothing has changed still. Nothing has changed still. So, am I confident? No, I'm not confident. But let's let's just bounce onto the semifinals, and hopefully the team maybe can improve there. And then for future purposes, this team has to be shaken up. There are some players, you look at them, they're not going to make this team after this World Cup is done. After the Nations, this AFCON is done, and maybe the World Cup is done. After it's done, we're not going to hear about a lot of players in this team. That's for sure. A lot of players in this team, you will not hear about them anymore. And that's why I've been saying I'm disappointed with how the NFF put this team together. Because when looking at some of the players, they're not meant to be there. You just know. They're not meant to be there, but for some whatever reason, they have come on there, and they are there now. But the team isn't even performing like, when you have wise players on the team, it's not even performing like that. It's still a struggle. Today's game was still a struggle, and if you come in, look at possession stakes, you say, well, okay, dominated the game. No, no, there was no such dominance. No such dominance. Sorry if you think I'm sounding a bit downbeat. I know, don't get me wrong. I'm excited. I'm happy, very happy that qualified for the semifinals. Good due credit to all the penalty takers. Benjamin, who took the first penalty, because that always sets the pace, always sets the tone. The first penalty taker, because the first penalty taker misses the penalty, then it puts a whole lot of pressure on the second and third and every other person that's coming to take the penalty, and even on the goalkeeper. But he came on, he dispatched the penalty beautifully. So top penalty. And Chuku as well. I think they are both they've both been signed by Hoffenheim prior to this tournament. So they're both on the books of Hoffenheim in the German Bundesliga. They both converted their penalties, and they converted the penalties with top level efficiency. So world class penalties from those two players. So happy days about that. But still, the team, has a lot of holes. There's still holes. The team still riddled with holes in the defense and in the midfield and the attack, because there was no creative force in that midfield. No creative force in the midfield. You watch the game, you see the build up. You're expecting that pass to, while you see the striker making the runs for the pass to come through, the pass either hits an opposing player or goes above the head of everyone, or is undercooked. That is, it's just a very, very short pass, doesn't get anywhere. So we can't be having this and expecting to win this tournament and expecting to do well in the World Cup. For me, I feel the AFCON U20 is locked up, so you get what you get. If somehow, by some miracle, you're able to win the tournament, then okay, happy days, good. Or if you're not able to win the tournament, then even if you're able to win the tournament, end of the day, you win the tournament by some stroke of luck, you win the tournament, then you should plan afterwards. Once the tournament is done, look at the team and begin to refurbish the team. A lot of changes need to be made to this team. A lot of changes. Because I've looked at this team, I asked myself, who is that exciting winger on the team? No one. Who are the exciting fullbacks in this team? No one. Who is that creative genius down the middle? No one. I don't know. if you you watch the game and you notice what I've noticed, or if you saw someone that stood out to you, you can let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chats who which player stood out to you, which player could you point out to say, oh yeah, this player really shone, in this game. Some people might say, Bami, okay, fair enough, you can say him, but was it spectacular really? Come on, we know how previous under 17s, under 20 teams are or have been in the past. You always have someone that excites you in the team, on the team. But this time around, not so much. Once again, happy days qualified, the penalty shootout. That was a good one. So happy days on that one. But what do you expect this NFF to do? I think that's the question I need to ask now. What do you want the NFF to do? Do you want the NFF to stick with this team? Not changing it up, stick with the team and take this team to the World Cup, or you would want the NFF to change things around and then um, change things around and then add some new faces. So, what do you expect the NFF to do? What do you expect the NFF to do? For me, if it would be practical, I would want the NFF to tweak this team a bit. Some players have to go because you look at the team, there are players that didn't contribute anything whatsoever, in my opinion. They didn't contribute anything whatsoever. So if I had my way, if my opinion would count for anything, I would say, some players have to be cut off this team and you have a complete shake-up. You have a complete shake-up of the team. Have a complete shake-up of the team. Because right now, I'm not seeing anything that has impressed me. I'm not seeing players that have impressed me. So I feel the team should be shaken up. The team should be shaken up. The team should be shaken up and new faces added. Because like for instance, I have talked about some players. I've talked about some faces that can be added to this team to really give difference. To make the difference in the team. Because looking at the players, there's nobody that excited me on this team. There's no one that I've looked at in this team to say, okay, this player is the one. This player is someone that can say, yeah, this player is going to take us. It can fit into the Nigerian Super Eagles. I didn't see any player like that. Sorry if I'm going to be distracted. I didn't see any player like that. I didn't see any player. I've not seen any player from the group stage up to this quarterfinals that I would say, has really been exciting. Can play for the Super Eagles, can be a difference maker for the Super Eagles. I've not seen any. I didn't see any. So, so going into the World Cup, because that's the whole point of under 17s, under 20. You want to have that development pathway from under 17 going to under 20, and then you have under 20 people that can now go on to be part of the senior team setup and contribute. Or looking at this team, and if you can't perform at your under 17 level, if you can't perform at your under 20 level, then how on earth are you going to perform, at that at the senior team level? I'm sorry. Yeah, we won today. I want to point that out, but sometimes wins can paper over cracks. You can be so excited. Wow, yes, we won. Dramatic fashion. Penalties. We won semi-final. Yay, happiness. And you forget the flaws, the holes that are in this team. A lot of holes in this team. A lot of holes in this team. So for me, I think this team needs a shake-up, serious shake-up. So I'll just take a 5 minutes break and I'll be back shortly and we'll continue with the discussion. Please don't go anywhere. Yeah, so we are back. So thanks for those who are still on. So back to what we're talking about. So the AFCON under 20 AFCON, Nigeria has qualified for the semi-finals after defeating Senegal 3-1 on penalties. So what's your take on the game? You happy with the overall performance? What is your take? Let me know in the chats. What is your take on the team heading into the semi-finals? You confident? What's your take on the team heading into the World Cup? Because you know, this game had two things at stake. Once you qualify for the semifinals, you had the World Cup bet at stake, and you also had obviously the semifinals, qualifying for the semifinals of this tournament. So, what's your take on it? Are you confident of this team going going to the semifinals? You confident that this team, if nothing is done to it, if the players, the coaching crew, everything is kept together, are you confident that they can actually impress in at the World Cup? Are you sure they can actually impress in the semifinals and maybe go on to win the tournament? Or you still have your doubts, like me, I still have my doubts. And then talking about the semifinals, Nigeria will be taking on, the winner of the Congo and South Africa quarterfinals. I think that will be later. That will be played later on today. So by the end of the day, we will know who the under 20 side, the Flying Eagles, will be playing. So South Africa and DR Congo will be playing in that quarterfinals. Nigeria will be playing the winner of that game. So I've seen the way South Africa plays. They like to play on the counter attack. So that'll be interesting to watch. They like to play on the counter attack and hit on the break. Be compact, defend ruggedly and doggedly, and hit on the break with pace. So how does Zubairu cope with that? How do the Flying Eagles cope with that? The under 20 side of the under 20 Nigerian national team. How do they cope with that? For me, normally going into a game versus any South African side, I would say for sure. I will be confident Nigeria can beat any South African side. But the way this tournament has gone, the way this tournament has been so far, the way this team has played, the way this team is presently constituted, the way it is, the quality of players on the team, and the quality on the bench, the technical crew, the coaching crew, for me, doesn't fill me with any level of confidence going into this game versus South Africa. Obviously, I want the team to perform well to win, but I'm looking at the game. I'm not confident. I have to be honest with you. I'm not confident that this team can perform well in that game versus South Africa. I'm not confident. I'm not confident at all. You might say, wow, with South Africa, you should be able to beat them anytime, any day. Yeah, sure, you should be able to. But when the team lacks quality, when the coaching crew lack quality, then you have that issue. You have a problem. You have a problem. So for me, hopefully the team can win. Hopefully the team can find a way to win. But this team isn't good enough, in my opinion. Isn't good enough. It's not good enough. The coaching crew, they're not good enough. But congrats to them. Got to the semifinals. Congrats. Happy days for that. But this team, you need to shake it up. Going to that World Cup, you need to look at this team, shake it up. Maybe you keep Hackett in the team. Maybe you keep Ireri. For sure, you keep Ireri Parabo, in this team. And then maybe Chukwu at the back, and then Benjamin, maybe, just maybe. And then you go and scout for players. You go and scout for players. There are players who are talented, who are in this age grade, who are both in Nigeria and outside Nigeria as well, that can help this team really go far in the World Cup. For now, for this tournament, it's all locked up. It's all locked up. There's nothing else you can do about it. You use the players you've got. There's nothing you can do about it. But heading into the World Cup later on this year, you should be looking to shake this up. I keep saying this. If Shola Ogundana was in this team, you would have seen impact. If you Ngoma was in this team, there's definitely impact you will see. Divine Oyemachi, you would have seen impact in this team. I think Victor Eletu is still of the age Daniel Daga is still of the age to be in this team. I think Daniel Daga is 18. Eletu should be 18 or 19 as well. So they're old enough to be in this under 20 team. So you can get those ones added to the midfield, instant impact. Because I've watched this team from the very first game they played in the group stage, now to the quarterfinals. The midfield is dead. I'm just going to be honest. The midfield is dead. There's no creativity in the midfield. There's no excitement in the midfield. The midfield isn't even solid. Because sometimes you may say, okay, we don't have that creative number 10, but we're just going to be super, super solid. Solid that we're not going to be broken down easily, and then we can hit on the break and use our pacey wingers. But even in this game, we're the pacey wingers to excite you, to run in behind, to take on the fullback. Take on the fullback. There was none. Couldn't see any of those. Couldn't see haven't seen any of those. So for me, in my opinion, I think this team should be shaken up a bit. Like 5 players can be dropped off this, 5, 6 players or more can and should be dropped off this team, while you have 5, 6 players as well added to the team. Because if you go this way to the World Cup, probably this team doesn't make it out of the group stage. I'm sorry, that's the way I see it. If you see it differently, let me know in the chat, let me know in the comments. But for me, I don't see this team as presently put together doing anything in the World Cup. And even going to the semi-finals against South Africa, that normally, I would be excited saying, definitely I'm confident that you can beat any South African team anytime, any day. But this particular set of players going up against South Africa and the way they play, I don't scratch it. I'm even thinking South Africa, I'm even talking like South Africa will win against Congo. That's not even guaranteed. That's not even a given. Because DR Congo has a solid side, they can definitely shake up South Africa. So, especially what DR Congo have been doing, in the past months, they've been delving into their own dual national pool. Like I said, every national team is doing it. Teams are no longer standing by to say, okay, we're going to be rubbish, we're going to have one good player, and we're going to leave it like that. No, every team is digging deep, looking for top players that are eligible to play for them all over the world, whether homegrown, grassroots, or proven overseas. So DR Congo are also stacking up. So the game versus Congo versus South Africa possibly going to be a tough one. So either way, whichever team Nigeria comes up against is going to be a tough test. A tough test, especially because the team hasn't been playing so good, in my opinion. The team has not been playing so good. And a lot of players on this team have just been there. You watch the game, you ask yourself, where is the creativity coming from? And there's none. And if you're honest, I think you scored only 2 goals in this tournament. In 4 games, you scored 2 goals. Scored 1 goal in the win versus Tunisia, and scored 1 goal. No, okay, 3 goals. Yeah, 3 goals. Scored 2 goals in the draw with Kenya, and then drew 0-0 in this game. So in 4 games, he scored 3 goals, which is a very, very low turnout. A very, 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 very low outlay. 3 goals in 4 games is so poor. A lot of times you have players who have scored, one player has scored 3 goals in 4 games. So this team scoring 3 goals in 4 games is very, very poor. And when you watch how they play, you kind of understand why. Like, kind of get that, okay, this team isn't playing so great, so they're going to struggle anyways. You kind of get it. You get it. You understand why the team struggles. You get why the team is struggling. You get why the team is struggling. So I think this team needs to be shaken up for the World Cup purposes, but for this on the 20 AFCON semi-final, you just have to take what you have. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You just have to, take the team the way it's set up. Now the question is, what would Zubairu do? What would he do to tweak this team or to tweak this team, to tactically set this team up in a way where at least they have a fighting chance against the Congo or South Africa. I'm expecting South Africa to beat Congo, but it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a tough game. And then back to the topic of discussion, I'm talking about Congo. Congo, they're stacking up. Sierra Leone, they're stacking up. So what should the NFF do? NFF, you can't just stand there and just compile, put together a bunch of players and just feel, okay, we're going to win. No team in Africa is standing by to watch you win. Every team is stacking up. Every team, every country right now, they're making sure they get the best of both worlds. Anywhere they can get top players to represent them, they do that. Look at what Ghana are doing as well. So you can't just sit on your arms anymore. You can't just sit on your hands anymore. As Nigerian Football Federation, you must go out there and get top talents all over the world that can represent you. When I talk, people say you talk about dual talents, dual nationals alone. No, I'll say someone like Shola going on. I'll say someone like Nyubuchi Obasi, for instance, Promise Meliga. These are people that can make a difference in this team. And Eric Porabo was suffering today. He was suffering, really suffering. He will be in attack, he won't get the ball, he will drop back into midfield, rush to get it, to get the ball, link up play, run again, expecting the pass to come through, and the passes wouldn't come through. And the passes wouldn't come through. That's the issue we're having with this team. And that's why I'm saying going into the semifinals, I'm not confident whether it's South Africa or whether it's DR Congo. So now if you just join to talking about the AFCON U20 team, the Flying Eagles defeating the Senegalese on the 20 side on penalties. So what your take on the game overall? You happy with the performance? For me, I have not really been happy with the performance. What's your take on the performance? I'm not happy with. I wasn't happy with the performance at all because it wasn't really that good. The only positive from the game is, you won. And the players show that they can, withstand that pressure of playing those penalties, that everyone counts. So that's the good side of it. You actually win the penalties. You showed you could withstand the pressure, the crowd, some booing, some looking at you with expectant eyes. Yes, you showed that you have strong mettle, strong minerals about you to convert those penalties. Yes, that's good. But in terms of the game being a good game, no. The game wasn't good at all. The way the players played, no way. The way the coach set them up, no way. I'll give him credit because he brought two extra forwards to join Ariel Korabo in the attack. Yes, it did, but that didn't make any difference still. That didn't change the outlook of the game because certain areas were still lacking. The midfield lacking in midfield. No creativity, no steal in that midfield. So it was just easy for the Senegalese national on the 20 side to just run through. But fair play, they were poor themselves as well. They didn't create that much. So this was an opportunity for the Flying Eagles to really, punish the Senegalese side, to really, show dominance. But just because they were not also good enough. So on the 20 side for Nigeria wasn't good enough. Senegalese side on the day didn't perform very well. And I don't know what to say. It was bright, sunny, and it looked really warm. But players seem to be slipping and falling, sliding and falling on the pitch. So I don't know if anybody noticed that, why that happened, or did they pour extra water on the pitch going into the game. So I don't know. But overall, performance not so great. Happy we qualified for the semifinals, qualified for the World Cup. And asking again, what do you think about this Congo-South Africa game? Who would you rather face? Would you rather face South Africa? Or would you rather face Congo? For me, don't really care. Don't really care because I think either one will be a tough ask. Will be a tough test because especially how this team has been put together. Like I said previously in the video, For other under 20 teams, even for other national teams, I'm always confident going up against South Africa. But I feel Nigeria, in terms of football, is just better than South Africa. Like, not even a competition, just better than South Africa. But the way this team has been put together, the way this team has struggled all through the competition up to this point, that makes you wonder: can they actually, make the difference? Can they actually come up against a South African side, defeat them, or come up against a DR Congo side and actually defeat them? Actually defeat them properly with it. I don't even care how long it takes, but can they actually defeat them? I don't see that. I'm not confident. It could happen. It could happen, and I wish it happened, but I'm not particularly confident going into the game. I'm not particularly going into the semi-final. So I guess you have to be in it to win it. So you have to be in the semi-finals to think about winning it. But I'm not confident in this team and the NFF. They have a lot of work to do, after this World Cup, as if they even want to do the work that is needed to reshape this team. Going into World Cup, I get it. It may seem unfair. These players are the ones that got you to the semi-finals, are the ones that inadvertently help make sure the team is qualified for the World Cup in Chile later on this year, and then you're going to say to them, you're not going to make this team. You have to think what this team can achieve. I think there's a very, very low ceiling in terms of what this particular under 20 side as presently considered can achieve. I'm sorry, that's just the truth. I'm just being honest. So there's limit to what they can achieve. And just to say, there'll be a video coming up, not today. Hopefully, it's going to be tomorrow. I'll be talking about outstanding under 18s, under 20 talents that we have in Nigeria. I'll be grading them, talking about them, giving you my insight about the players, comparing them as well. So you don't want to miss that. You can be involved in that one as well. But the issue or the thing that arises is when you have all these talents available all over the world, why isn't the NFF integrating them? Why is the NFF just watching, watching the team look so bad? So why aren't they being more sensitive? Rather being more pragmatic, being more active in terms of making sure you build a very, very strong team, making sure the team you put together can actually be world beaters. Because this particular side are not world beaters. And even at the end of this tournament, maybe they go to the World Cup as well. I don't see any player out of this team, apart from Ariel Corabo, presently that can, knock on the door of the Super Eagles to say, I want to be in here. I want to be the next one in. I don't see anyone really. Chuku looked okay. It looked okay. Let's see how he continues to develop at Hoffenheim, but he didn't really super impress me. In fact, there was one rash thing he did that made me scratch my head. I'm like, wow. The Senegalese player was running away, heading towards the throwing line, and he just went in and pushed the guy in the back. In stiffer competition or in tougher competition like the World Cup, you probably get a yellow card for that. And you're playing against a top side. That means you could concede. You could concede from the free kick that followed. So he looked okay, but overall, looking at the team, no one really has stood out so far. No player has really stood out, in my opinion. I don't know what you think about it, but for me, no player has really stood out. No player has really, really stood out in this tournament for the Nigerian Super Eagles. I don't think anyone has stood out. So like I said, the AFCON is locked in. You must stick with these players. Nothing you can do about it. But after the AFCON, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do to the team? For me, you have to replace 6 or 7 players. 6 or 7 players. You have Omar Abubakar. You have Divine Onyemachi. You have Onyebuchi Obasi. You have Promise Meliga. You have all these players. Shola Gundana. You have all these players that you can and should use. Daniel Daga, you have them. You have them. Use them. So that this team can actually go far, possibly win the World Cup. Possibly win the World Cup. But as the team is presently put together, nah. I'll be surprised if they come out of their group. I will be surprised if they come out of their group. But anyway, fair play, fair play, fair play, fair play. Anyways, you've got to the semi-final. Now let's see what's going to happen. Can the team improve? Is there possibility of this team improving? In that in the semi-finals and really becoming a solid team? From what I've seen, I don't think so. But let's see. Miracles will happen. Let's see if the team indeed, improves heading into the semi-finals, and maybe we can get to the finals. Let's see how that happens. And then the World Cup later on this year. I think it's October, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see how that happens. I want to ask, how many people will be going to watch the Unity Cup game, in Brentford? How many people will be going to watch that game? Nigeria, Ghana, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago. Would anyone be going there to watch it? If you're going there to watch it, probably I will see you there. Hopefully, let's see how that shakes up if I'm indeed able to go. And then overall, what do you think about the players? And a stream will be coming up later on tomorrow. I'm talking about certain players, and the player I also want to highlight. So there will possibly 2 uploads tomorrow. There'll be a live stream and an upload tomorrow. So keep your eyes peeled on the channel for that one. I also want to know in the chats your take on the team. Let's know if there any players outstanding. Let's know. And are there any players overall that in the world, grassroots in Nigeria, overseas, that you want me to talk about on this channel as well? So keep your let me know in the chats if you have any such players. Let me know in the chat. I do follow a lot of players. I do. I'm plugged into the system where I'm in contact with. I have an opinion on a lot of players and what they're doing, but I definitely can't cover every person. So just let me know in the comments in the chats if there are people you would like me to talk about on the channel. So at this point, I've come to the end of this video. Thanks for everyone who's stuck with me, who's watched this video, who's given their various contributions, for those who contributed. And also keep your eyes peeled on this channel. More exciting programming will be coming up on this channel. You having more watch along. And I'm looking to put together a Premier League panel to talk about the English Premier League on here. So if you're a Chelsea fan, Arsenal fan, Liverpool fan, you want to talk about the Premier League, you can come on the channel and have that discussion on here as well. So if you're just joining, I want to just run through what I'll be talking about today. Is just the fact that the Nigerian under-20 side, the Flying Eagles, have qualified for the under-20 AFCON semi-finals, beating Senegal 3-1 on penalties in the penalty shootout, and Ebenezer Harcourt, the goalkeeper for Nigeria, won as he saved 2 penalties, with the Senegalese player hitting the 3rd one on the crossbar. And funny enough, the Senegalese goalkeeper was made the man of the match, which was odd to me. They said he kept a clean sheet, but Harcourt also kept a clean sheet. So that's a bit odd to me that the goalkeeper for Nigeria wasn't given the man of the match. So come to the end of this video, come to the end of the live stream, and hopefully I'll see you on